All right. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you guys are joining us from today. Hope everyone's having a fantastic week on Thursday so far. Just to make sure that everyone can see and hear us, find the chat and let us know where you are joining us from today. While you are doing that, let me just tell you that we have a really awesome panel discussion planned for you, and we are going to be diving into that in just a few moments. In case this is the first time you're joining one of our digital events, welcome. We hold our roundtables, webinars, workshops, and onboarding days to help to share some insightful information with the SEO community, as well as help you guys make the most of our tools, so SEO rankings tools, and hopefully give you something to walk away with that will help you boost the traffic to your website. Let me switch over the presentation and introduce myself. I'm Andrew Zarudi, and I'm part of the marketing team over at SEO Ranking, all-in-one SEO platform. And today we are going to talk about recession risk management for agencies, how to acquire customers, find revenue streams, and maintain growth. As businesses face economic uncertainty and potential downturns, it's important for agencies to have a strategy in place to manage their risks and maintain growth. In this webinar, in this panel discussion, we will discuss practical approaches to acquiring customers, finding new revenue streams, sustaining growth. Like I said, during times of recession, which we are unfortunately sort of going through right now. And let me now introduce the wonderful guests that we have here. So we have three SEO experts with real life experience running agencies and businesses. And let me introduce our first guest, who is Juntae DeLane, founder and chief strategist at Digital DeLane. So could you please say a couple of words about yourself and let the people know how you got to where you are today?
Awesome. Well, thank you, Andrew, and thank you for the SE Ranking team for putting on this webinar. It's a great topic. Really look forward to talking about how agencies can really future-proof their business and what to consider during a recession. As Andrew mentioned, my name is Juntae DeLane. I am the founder of Digital DeLane and chief strategist. We are a full-service digital marketing agency located in Los Angeles, California. We work with many clients across different industries and verticals, and really looking forward to sharing some of our insights that we've learned while gearing up for the potential recession. I say potential and knock on wood here, and some of the tactics that we use when generating revenue for our agency. So look forward to speaking with you guys today.
Awesome. And I just noticed in the chat that you guys can see and hear us. So hello from Germany, Canada, Estonia, Mexico, Canada, Poland. Great to have you guys with us. Let me introduce our next guest, Ulrika Viberg. She is an agency owner and senior SEO at Unicorn. Happy to have you join us, Ulrika, today. And could you please tell us the long and short of how you got to where you are today, your story a bit?
Thank you, Andrew, for having me. So super fun to be in this panel with all you guys. So much knowledge in one webinar. So yeah, I'm Ulrika Viberg. I'm the agency owner of Unicorn. It's a Sweden-based SEO agency. We also have web analysis in our package. So we focus on user-centric SEO. It's very neatly called, and holistic SEO. So we're not doing everything, but we're doing the things that you really need when you need it. And might that be innovative SEO, or might it be a very specific technical task, or might it be a very specific web analysis thing? Then we combine it and work with the people around us so that we create magic. So I've done SEO for a long time, and at some point it seemed fair to create my own business and do it as I want to do it. So
great. Thank you for taking the time to join us and be here today.
Thank you.
And I also want to introduce our final and third guest, Chris Simmance, founder at the OMG Center and owner of a really great beard.
Yep, that's true.
Say a couple more things about yourself, just to get the people acquainted with you, Chris.
So apart from only having a beard as a personality, I built, ran and exited 2 agencies in the past. I made all of the mistakes. I learned all of the lessons. And once I'd exited those agencies, I decided that the best thing to do was actually to help other agency leaders through their troubles, through their growth, build them strategies, work with them to actually navigate exactly these kinds of situations that we're going to cover today. So this is a perfect time for me to be having these conversations with people like you guys. I'm ready to rock and roll.
Great, awesome. I just have a couple of more slides just to show you guys before we get to the main course of today's event. Let me just tell you a couple of things about SEO Ranking in case you guys don't know enough about us. So we are an all-in-one SEO platform that covers tools for data-hungry experts as well for SEO first steppers, and we try to support you all the way across your journey. We're not only with the tools, but we have an excellent support team and a lot of material just to get you through the knowledge curve of SEO. And just to back up what I said, we have different tools for different sorts of businesses. So if you're running a digital business on your own, if you're an SEO pro working on different clients, or if you have a digital agency and you want to have everything you need to cover all your needs, we have all of that. So make sure to explore what we have to offer. Now I'm going to hide my presentation and switch over to the presentations, not to the presentation, but bring all of us up on the screen. Yeah, and let's start off with the very first question, just to get an understanding of the topic better. How can businesses tell if a recession is coming and whether it will attract them specifically? So what do you look out for? Perhaps Chris, you could start.
So typical SEO style question. It depends. So it depends where you're looking, what kind of clients you have. If you're in specific niches, then it's a lot easier to see trends that are happening because the niche, all of your clients are pretty much the same type of niche. But if you're more full service, international, things like that, you should probably be looking for leading indicators of a recession that are outside of your client sphere. So the things that are before the client, so supply chains and things like that. If you start seeing your client talk about their cost of delivery going up, or you notice on their website they're increasing delivery costs and small prices here and there, they're feeling the pinch already, and that usually then means that 6, 8, 9 months down the line, you've got that a difficult conversation with that client. Maybe they want to leave, maybe they want to reduce their fees. So that's when you should be kind of making plans.
Yeah, great point, Chris. Do any of you guys want to contribute? Or Ulrika, perhaps?
Yeah, so as I'm working very closely to my clients, I notice when there's a reorganization happening, or when there are talks about that, then I know that, yeah, okay, something is going on, something's coming. They know something that hasn't hit me yet. And then, yeah, they want to cut costs and they want to be like make everything thinner and smaller and more effective. And that's when I know, like, yeah, okay, I have to pitch in here to make my company stay inside that kind in the business for that client.
Right, got it.
Yeah.
And yeah, Juntae, if you have anything to add with your personal experience, maybe, what do you look out for to notice these red flags?
Yeah, so just much to what Chris alluded to earlier, it's really, if you pay attention to the news, you'll see things that are going on in the market, such as companies laying people off. You have, your GDP, gross domestic product, the increases and decreases there. You have so many other sort of market trend factors that you can consider, but what you also want to consider is when having those conversations with the client to determine where they are going with their organization with regard to their budgeting for the upcoming fiscal year, looking at what type of resources or activities that your clients are investing in. Are they investing in more long-term marketing tactics, or they focus more on short-term? Are they going through a reorg? Are the team members or stakeholders having to do more work? as well are also key indicators there. And just by having that general conversation with the client, which of course all agencies we should have our finger on the pulse of what's going on in the organizations that we are promoting. So those are all some key factors that I consider when determining where we are with regard to a recession.
I appreciate it. So if our viewers notice anything going on with their clients, anything that our speakers have just mentioned, that this is a good opportunity for you to actually focus in and just try to figure out what the best next step for you guys is. Like a recession basically is coming. If you notice anything from what our guests have mentioned, let's switch over to a bit more specific question, because it was basically just a starting point to understand if this applies to your business or if it doesn't. So if this does apply, then you're in the right place. And the next question I wanted to ask you guys is, what are some of the key economic indicators that agencies should monitor to identify and mitigate risks potentially? Like besides what you mentioned, like more specifically, or like in terms of the financial indicators, maybe something happening, like because I want to help our viewers just basically like sort of understand at a glance if something is happening without digging further. Not obviously have to dig in further, but without digging too much further, just at a glance understand something is wrong. So what is something that a key economic indicator that to pay attention to, besides like the delivery costs, or maybe in addition to the delivery costs? And I would love to hear Juntae's answer on thoughts on this, not answer, but thoughts on this.
Yeah, so I think, Andrew, that paying attention to consumer spending, especially if you have clients that are in the B2C industry, and really when we look at the consumer spending, we'll be able to determine how much growth or demand there is for a specific service, right? And if consumers are obviously cutting back, then naturally they're not going to patronize some of your clients, as an example. So when we consider consumer spending, I think it's important to focus on where the industry is going with regard to spending. I think also looking at B2B, from what we've noticed is, especially during the onset of the pandemic, we started to notice that it takes a little bit longer for us to convert any new potential clients. I mean, naturally, as you guys all know, the larger the client, usually the more the longer the buyer cycle is for that client or industry. And with the pandemic, we've noticed, there started to be, it took a little bit longer, basically, for us to close deals. And with that said, you ultimately want to determine, well, how can you possibly respond, right? Because of the elongation of that buyer cycle. And for us, it was creating a great deal of content and, of course, educating the clients so that we can position ourselves as someone that is hyper-focused on their industry and their needs, because now they're really being critical especially during a recession, about who new vendors that are coming on board, and the value of that marketing dollars starting to be really criticized greatly, especially when bringing on new vendors. So consumer spending overall is one, I think, key metric to take a look at.
Ulrika, I'm sorry, my mic is on. Yeah, I thought my mic was off for a second.
No worries. I agree with Juntae there. That's looking at the consumer spending. I think that is the key, right? That when stuff is going to happen, and then we're going into a recession, people are going to be more careful about where they spend their money. But then also, like, other things. I mean, this is also for the consumers, and everything costs more, and then the companies or our clients, they have less money to spend on us or other types of marketing. So one thing that I see is that my clients want to push down the costs of paid marketing, and then there's this organic free thing that is more lucrative, what they see, and then I have more discussions about that. So I am called into meetings about that more than I was or before, or would be before the recession happening, if that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you for contributing to the question, Ulrika. And Chris, perhaps you have something that you look out for additionally.
Yeah, I'm gonna go a little bit more away from the normal. I suspect. I don't know. So there's two sides to this. One is what you'd see directly in the agency, and that would be maybe smaller or less deal flow coming through. So yes, things take less time, more time to convert potentially, but you're actually potentially getting less leads in, or the leads that do come in. If you're doing any kind of lead scoring, which you absolutely should be, if you're running an agency, you should know that the scoring of your leads is potentially getting less valuable or less likely to convert because they don't fit you, they're too small or something like that. But then a bit like Juntae was saying about consumer spending, like the real world version of this, you don't have to look at consumer figures, you don't have to look online, you don't have to do anything. Walk down the road and see how many people are walking around with coffee cups in their hand, like the paper coffee cups. Less people walking around with paper coffee cups from the coffee shop means that they're either making coffee at home or they're not buying any coffee or anything like that from wherever it is that charges like $5 for a cup of coffee now. So if people are spending less money on the small little luxuries when they're walking to their office or something like that, and you're getting less deal flow, then the chances are the jurisdiction you're in, the country you're in, is probably having a slowdown economically. And given the global situation, it's potentially that country will then enter a recession. Obviously, not the whole world doesn't enter a recession at the same time. So look for coffee cups in your own town.
We have a question coming into the chat. Since the onset of COVID, have you found that content is even more important to provide credibility to your agency? Because definitely COVID did change a lot of things, and everybody was sort of holding on to everything they have without making any sudden moves, just to be more prudent in this. So, like once again, going back to the question, is like, has content helped you provide? Not provide, but help you with credibility in terms of. Oh, sorry, something is wrong with I'm not speaking properly today. So in terms of providing credibility to your agency, what has the role of content been since the onset of COVID?
People always want a safe pair of hands, and when they're worried about money, they want an even safer pair of hands. So if you're producing good quality authoritative content for yourself, you're proving that you practice what you preach for your clients potentially, and it means that you may be safer with their money. That's my take.
Yeah, and no, I agree as well. And I think, content not only helps with establishing your credibility in the space, but in particular during COVID, people, the average person, I think, would not be in the position to buy. It's more value-based purchases. If you're making a direct impact on their bottom line, on their life, they're certainly going to make those purchases. If not, they're going to perhaps interact with your brand or interact with your content as a way to be informed or entertained. And I see a lot of the brand voice change and obviously be more personal and essentially have more personality. And because of COVID, consumers started to really double down on digital because they had to, right? That's the digital separation between physical bodies. And if as a brand, whether you're an agency or any other company, you had to have content available so you can stay top of mind, right? Because although during the COVID era, consumers may not be looking to purchase, but you ultimately want to stay top of mind because when things start to pick back up, which they certainly have, especially in the US, you would be the first company or business that they engage with. So I think creating content, especially during a recession, I think is critically important to maintain your market share.
Yeah, and I agree. And for like creating content for both having people feeling safe about the COVID implications of the business, but also that it was like a situation of two things where when COVID happened was that one, we couldn't go to stores anymore, or we couldn't meet people. There's no physical networking for a while, and then content had to be there, answer all the questions that we still have about like before purchasing stuff or services. But the other thing was also Google had a crazy time with algo updates during COVID. There was like insane, and a lot of them were about content. So we had to like rethink a lot about how to create content and how to service them and how to think about it, and it was super important. So I think that during COVID, those two things happened at the same time, and sort of forced us to rethink content into a whole new era or new world of how to create that and how to talk to people.
I can add from SE Ranking's point of view that definitely content has helped us, and we've to change our message to take into account the times, so to address all of our clients, not just like a general, like as if we're not going through the same thing. So this was a big focus for our communication process. And I want to go over to the next question, which is, what are some strategies that you can use to differentiate yourself from competitors and attract new clients during a recession? Perhaps like developing a unique value proposition, or having a special discount, or anything, whatever worked in your experience. We would love to hear from you guys. So we haven't started off with Ulrika in a while. So if you could start with how would you differentiate yourself from the competition to attract more clients? Well, not more clients, but at least attract clients during
the right kind of clients.
Yeah.
So I did that and specialized in things that are a niche where I saw that the clients that I wanted to have to contract that they needed in this time of both COVID, but also now, because they need to focus on their transition into a digital market, which is like has grown like the last couple of years. A lot for many, especially if they had physical shops before. Now they have to be online and have like online retails. I don't believe in discounts. I believe instead of giving extra. I don't want to sell my hours cheap, because they are not cheap to me. But if you want to have my extra magic, yes, treat me nicely and pay me, and then you will have that. I will be the unicorn.
Appreciate it.
Stop laughing, Chris.
No, I love it. It's brilliant. You get you extra magic and have the unicorn. It's true.
Yeah, it makes total sense, and I'd love to hear what your thoughts are, guys, on this. How would you set yourself apart from the competition, or what would you suggest to a digital agency that is trying to get more clients, but is struggling to?
Juntae,
Juntae?
Yeah, sure. So, I think Arthur said it well when it comes to providing value, right? That's the first thing that you want to do. And what we consider is if we're providing any extra ad hoc projects or spec work, we would determine it's about usually if it's 10% of an incremental cost, then we'll go ahead and do it. We may want to expand that to 25%, sort of depending upon the relationship of the client, right? In terms of adding more value. Other things is obviously being that true partner, right? I know this is kind of cliche with an agency. Yeah, we're sure we're partners, but really, what are ways in which we can showcase that we are a true partner by being proactive, right? And really being into what's going on with the client as well as their industry, and relaying information about potential roadblocks that may come about for that client, right? Issues that they may need to tackle, and not in a sense of we are doing this to upsell them, but really just to let them know that we have their back, and here's some more valuable information or tactics or consideration that they need to make, right? So value, I think, is definitely important. I think the other thing too is when we're naturally promoting to anyone, marketing to anyone, we want to focus on the problem, right? And the challenges that they have. So I think the biggest challenge for any brand during a recession is, what are we doing, and is it contributing to the bottom line, right? So ROI is a major consideration. So that would mean for any campaigns that would go on during this time, you may want to tweak your language a little bit to focus more on ROI, right? And the things that are doing to build ROI. Transparency is obviously key. They want to see sort of what's going on within the organization, how we're doing things, sort of, how the sausage is made, so to speak. And if you give them that insight, that transparency, have them, the ability to go underneath the hood, so to speak, and kind of really be that true marketing partner, depending upon the right client, right? That's at the preface that. And I think that'll also help to differentiate you as well, because now they'll have more trust established with regard to what's going on, if things are operating efficiently, the impact that your agency has on their bottom line, not only waiting for the revenue to come in or the projections or growth, but actually seeing things being done. I think is something that any agency can do to differentiate themselves during this time. Chris, I would want to know your thoughts about that.
I agree with almost every point everyone's made, which is great. Naturally, I have more to say. I always think that if you play with pricing, you're in a race to the bottom. Pricing isn't a differentiator. Reducing prices, if you're asked to reduce prices, those clients are probably the most at risk to leave in a crisis anyway. So you're essentially reducing your potential profit margins and cash flow before you have to, because they're going to go. If you look at a bit like what Juntae was saying around ROI and things like that, you don't have to play with pricing, but you can make it provable. You can make your process provable. You can provide some kind of guarantees. And I'm not saying guaranteed page one rankings. I'm not saying guaranteed whatever the keyword is to be number one or something like that on a specific number of sales, but you can guarantee the leading measures that would normally provide a return on investment for a client. And if you don't deliver your deliverables in a certain period of time, and you don't show that those leading measures of success, such as, I don't know, impressions increasing or click-through rate change in search results, don't change, then you can work on a guarantee there. And I think to differentiate yourself in that way is essentially saying, we know we are hot stuff. I don't know whether I can swear on this. I said that instead. It's probably sounded really weird. But we know we're really good at what we do. We're so good at what we do, even though there's risks involved on our side, we're taking a risk with you because we can prove that we can do it. That's a pretty decent differentiator there. And the other thing as well, if you're not already niching into a specific service type or service line, you should probably be niching into a specific sector. And if you can choose one, choose a recession-proof one, as recession-proof as they can get. And quite often it does end up boiling down to finding the right clients. Like both these guys have said, if you've got the wrong clients, you're going to have difficult conversations, which is just noise that kills the cash flow.
Yeah, appreciate all of your answers. Yeah, there's definitely a lot to think about, and depending on the business that you're in specifically, the answers can vary. And so, if you have any specific questions for our audience members about your specific agency, you're welcome to throw them into the chat. In the meantime, I want to throw another question at you guys. So businesses have long-term goals, and sometimes things happen in between that we have to sort of adjust and change our short-term goals as well. And so my question is, what are some of the strategies for balancing short-term revenue goals with long-term strategic objectives for a company? So you basically have at the next year you want to have these figures, and something changes. What are the steps that you do in between? How do you balance reaching your ultimate goal but having all these different obstacles in the way? In your experience,
you got to know where your cash is coming from. I sound like a really boring accountant, but you have to have ridiculously good accountancy, management accounts, cash flow reporting, because you've got a long-term goal of, say, 2 or 3 years into the future. That's quite a long horizon when there's a lot of uncertainties. So that long-term goal is still worth going for. You might need to just adjust the timeline, not the plan. But if you know where your cash flow is going and where you're spending and where you're not spending, you can make decisions that will impact the short term, because you have to impact the short term, that will not make a tangible change on the long term. So rather than cutting staff or cutting tools and things like that, or reducing spend in certain areas that you know will have an impact in 6 to 9 months' time, spend money on training your team, spend time looking after and retaining, working with your clients. But as long as you know that you're not knocking on that cash flow to a point where you then become an at-risk business, that's what I think you should do. You balance it that way.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah,
totally
and I
agree.
think
Yeah, you guys are welcome to add if you have anything, or we can move on. But I'd love to hear your thoughts if you have anything specifically to share.
yeah. So I mean, really quickly. Oh, I'm sorry. No, you can
No,
go ahead.
go ahead.
No,
Okay.
ladies first. Let's. Yesterday was International Women's Day. We have to.
All right.
That's right.
That
That's
was
right.
yesterday,
That's
though.
right.
All right, I totally agree, and I think that so cutting down on everything, it doesn't make a happy workspace, or it doesn't make you a happy customer. It doesn't make anyone happy. The staff is not going to be happy, so then you're not going to do a good job, and it's very, very hard to sell a staff that is not happy, or a job that is not done well. So I think that you will have to maybe cut down on things, like some things, but please don't do that on your staff, and you also need your tools, because we work in SEO, so you need them. And also spend some time with your customers or your client, and wine and dine them, treat them well, make them feel happy. I think that is super important. So that is our way to invest ourselves out of the crisis, so to say. And I think it's necessary to do that.
Yeah, thank you, Ulrika. Juntae, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, just for us at Digital DeLane, we short term we focus on customer retention, and going back to the point that Ulrika made in terms of providing extra value and adding extra magic as much as possible. That's an immediate short term solution there. Obviously, we know as marketers, it costs more to acquire a new customer than it would be to retain a current one. So that's our short-term philosophy there. And then long-term, it's training and development of our team, right? And really making sure that they have the right training and educational milestones, and we provide as much support as we can to help them get there, so that long-term we have more talented and skilled individuals on our team.
Appreciate it. Yeah, we have. I want to talk about partnerships and collaborations as a way of strengthening a business, like even a digital agency. So maybe you have some cases really from your experience about collaborating with a not exactly your rival, but perhaps maybe a company that handles design or something like a bit additional that will sort of boost your presence on the market. So basically, is there any way of using partnerships and collaborations to cultivate your presence and have a stronger presence online, due to being a part of, like, well, partnering up with bigger, well, not necessarily bigger brands, but just like other brands, and sort of presenting yourself as in an environment of going along with other tools? Is that something that has worked for you guys in the past?
1,000,000%.
Okay, then I would love to hear more on this, because partnerships are something that anybody can take advantage of, and I would love to hear from you guys. Maybe we can start from Juntae this time. I'm sorry, Chris, you sort of started, but I wanted to.
Sure. Yeah.
Please.
So I think that's the probably the number one thing I would recommend during a recession is collaboration with potential partners or affiliates. Obviously, you're able to create some co-branded initiatives that are essentially going to help to save some marketing dollars there, right? And so when we determine what type of partner you could or collaborator you should work with, you ultimately want to focus on a organization or brand that can provide sort of from an ancillary standpoint, assist you with any of the services that you may provide, or an ancillary brand or service that your target audience would also if that brand would also resonate with your target audience. So those are some key factors to consider there. And this could range anywhere from creating a co-branded ad campaign to an event, to research, surveys, so on and so forth, that both organizations can push through their marketing pipeline. I think are all critical when it comes to leveraging a recession and working sort of smarter, not necessarily harder.
Sorry, I have a question follow up about this. So say one sec. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. It was about So say I'm just not a business, but I'm a client, and I see two options. I can pay one business that I see as a standalone one, or I can pay another one where I see that it partners up with other ones. My thought is this one business is not going to take too much money from me, but when I see that its brand is collaborating with other brands, I started thinking like, okay, these are three brands now collaborating, and obviously my I'm gonna have to pay a lot more ultimately, because they present a sort of a bigger ecosystem that definitely will help me, but still like I'm thinking about like the financial risks, because if people don't want to pay, well, not don't want to pay, but like there's a finite amount of resources, and money is one of them. And for example, not a person, but like a business is trying to figure out where to spend their money best. And like from what I see, partnerships, yeah, it's a more established position, but I see that it's gonna pull a lot more money from me. Is that something that is a popular thought, or am I just alone on this?
I
Well,
want
I
to
mean,
challenge you here and say that if you go choose the standalones agency and they work in a silo, and then you notice that, oh, I actually need these three other marketing things as well, and then you're gonna contract the other three agencies, and then they're gonna start competing against each other, and then you're paying four agencies instead of having one collaboration with one partner where you get exactly the bits and pieces that you need, and they are actually doing that in a synchronized way, and they're not competing with each other, and you're getting it like actually cheaper.
Okay, so it's probably a matter of wording it properly so that people will not even think about this, the thing that I just thought about, because I'm just
Yep.
thinking like one, like two is definitely more than one. That was my logic. So like, and it's probably gonna cost more. But I love the response that you gave. So it makes sense that you will eventually pay less because they are sort of
Yeah,
closing the gaps from each other.
exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
so we are working with a number of different partners and in collaborations, both who are doing other things, other disciplines within marketing, digital marketing, but also with other SEO agencies, because you have different skill sets and you have different things that you're good at, and then you can have a better full service with everyone, and then I pick in whatever I need at the time that I need it, and then for the client, this is more seamless, and they get the holistic digital marketing service. Only Unicorn isn't delivering all of it. We are doing it together, and then since we're friends, because we're collaborating with each other, we also have these sessions where we teach each other or talk to each other how to evolve our proposition, and how we can synchronize our services better, and how we can create more and better results for our clients together, which you cannot if you work in silos. Then you will work against each other, and the client is the one who is going to pay for that.
All right, I'm sold. I'm sold. Thanks, Zach. As I just wanted to like, if anybody's listening to this and had the same thought, I just wanted them to have this
Yeah.
answer, because if you're on the fence, like definitely now I'm convinced that is definitely to partner up. Do you want to contribute on this? So maybe have an experience collaborating with somebody, or yeah, we can actually move on because we don't have that much time.
Just a very quick one. Agencies like to silo within agencies as well. So if you consider partnerships with other types of businesses, you're going to get leads from other businesses that will recommend your services. So create partnerships with the accountants and the lawyers and the insurance brokers, because they work with people that you want to sell to as well. And you can create referral agreements that you don't have to worry about all of the other stuff.
Great point. Great point. Thank you. Okay, so let's move on because we don't have that many questions left, and I wanted to talk about let's talk about how we can leverage automation and AI to improve operations and better serve clients. So just basically, we can talk about anything because AI is sort of there's all different ways of using it, implementing it, taking advantage of it, and so on. So I just wanted to hear your thoughts on how has AI worked or helped you automate anything in terms of ultimately presenting clients with a better offer and so on. So like, how has automation, AI helped you? And I wanted to start off with let's go to Chris, to this one.
So I don't run an agency anymore, but the agencies that I do work with are playing around and experimenting with all of these things at the minute. And I think the best way to use a tool for automation, AI tools in particular, is to leverage the scale that it can do around the high volume, low value types of tasks. So a million pages of titles and meta descriptions or something like that, that's going to take someone months and months and months and months. You can then use those tools to do the heavy lifting kind of work that isn't hugely impactful in of itself. That then allows you to upskill your team or use your team for the brains that you hired them for, to actually do the cool creative stuff that generates the results that is the thing that the clients come for.
Thank you. Ulrika, what about Unicorn? Do you use what have you automated so far? Because obviously automation has been around, and like AI is sort of taking the foreground now even more.
Yeah.
So I just love to hear you
So
what your experience has been.
yeah, we're using it as a tool, just as Chris said, like things that are boring and actually cost a lot and doesn't have as much of an impact if you would do it manually as it costs to create it. So that's where you can use the AI for sure. I haven't seen like all the applications yet where I would like to use the AI. I think it's still like a bit like a rudimentary tool to use, but yeah, for sure, it's fun. It's really fun to use to play around with AI. It's more fun than useful.
Well, but I'm not only exclusively talking about AI like ChatGPT, but for example, like any automation process that maybe analyzes bulks of data. Well, what do you use to help you get more done for your clients in less time? Like, so if somebody in our audience is right now not using enough automation tools, this would be a great opportunity to let them know what they can automate to just do a lot more, be more efficient.
Everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Too big of a question. Sorry,
That
guys.
was a bit too vague. Yeah, you have to be more specific, I think.
Well, because yeah, there's we have a question in the chat for specifically about AI content on web pages for agencies.
Yeah.
And is the question: do you think that will work for Google? Will it rank on Google?
If someone checks it first, if
Yeah.
someone
Like
proves
Human
professionally,
curated.
mean? But this is like the question is from the standpoint of Google. Google, how will Google know if this has been proofread by a professional, or is this just purely an output of an AI program?
you will have to put your name under it and said proofread by. This is AI content proofread by, and then that's how you do it.
I'm just going to create an AI author page, create some EAT behind the AI author, and then let it be the author of my content and see what happens.
Yeah. I also I taught ChatGPT a bunch of stuff, so I know I get like a creative text from it that is not true, but still.
Yeah, it's very confident for sure about the lies that it tells. Well, it's not you can teach it for sure. We have a question from Chris Rolfe. Do you recommend for the time being starting to offer your monthly engagement at a lower price? For example, our lowest level of engagement was $2,000. Now we're thinking about starting it at $1,000. What are your thoughts on this? I see that you're nodding your head, Ulrika. What would you say to Chris on this?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, because you're not a fan of cutting down the prices, right?
Because you're not going to do good work for lower prices. So, and like, as Chris said before, the clients who want to have it's the same service but for a lower price, they're the ones who are already at risk, and you need to check your own home. You're the number one. Your agency is the number one customer or client for you, and you don't want the clients who can't pay. And because you're going to work a lot for them, and then working a lot for less money makes you actually being able to earn less money from clients who actually can pay you. It takes both time but also energy from you to do that. So if you have a client, I mean, if it's your uncle or if it's for a good cause, yes, do it, but that's pro bono. But for a client who can't pay and they still want you to work a lot for them, don't sign the contract, because you can find better clients for in the cost of that energy it would take to work for these low paying clients.
Yeah, okay, so thank you. So I understand that you're a strong supporter of not cutting down your prices, and we're almost done with the event, and I wanted to have your takeaways on this as well. So yeah, we're gonna get to that in just a bit, and there's one more question that I want to talk about in terms of just retaining the clients that we have. I know that we touched on this a lot. We talked about like adding the personal touch, adding the magic, not cutting down the prices. But this is like one of the most important things is the clients, is like retaining them, definitely. So I actually, because we already talked about this so much, I don't want to have this as a separate question again. But I wanted to have your takeaways on this topic of basically of what you can do right now to sort of recession proof your agency for the future, for the near future at least. And you can go as concise as you want or elaborate as much as you want, but it would be good if you could, if it was just sort of one big point. And I would love to start off with Ulrika to sort of close off our panel discussion, and just remind our viewers, if you have any questions, you can throw them into the chat right now and we will address them. But at the moment, I wanted to have a takeaway so that people can summarize and know what they can do right now to sort of recession-proof their business.
That is a big question again. But so okay, I would say that stay true to yourself, and be transparent to your clients. Who are your clients now? I think that is integrity and transparency, and help them through that, and help them say like, okay, if we do these things, it's gonna help you through this, and actually pay attention to what their needs, and maybe focus on them a bit more, and show them that you are here with them, that you have their back. You're going to get them through this together with you, and you're going to help them do that.
Okay, thank you, Ulrika. Juntae, I'd love to hear your thoughts on like what business can do right now, just to, yeah, basically the same question, but just to have a leg up against the competition after this webinar panel discussion. Yeah, please.
Yeah, no, I think digital marketing agencies can be recession proof by focusing on providing as much value as possible to their current clientele. That is the most important thing. Keep your clients, right? So reduce that churn as much as you can. Hopefully, by providing a great deal of value, you'll be able to do that. The other thing is basically what Ulrika had mentioned. Stay true to yourself. There's going to be some tough decisions that are going to be made during a time of recession. So by staying true to yourself, your core values, I think, are going to be very important. Make sure that you hire new team members, take on new clients based upon those specific core values. Because at the end of the day, no matter what happens, you stuck to those core values, right? So you can never go wrong. And then ultimately, looking to create as much content as possible is certainly going to help, especially during this time. Consumers, it doesn't matter if you're a B2B or B2C, they are consuming a great deal of content. So one of the ways you are able to effectively stay top of mind and increase your reach ultimately is by creating a great deal of content. So those will be my few recommendations to maintain a future-proof brand as a digital marketing agency.
Thank you, Juntae. And Chris, well, what would you like our viewers to walk away with?
The boring bit, know the numbers, know where it is. But I think the other part is you're with digital marketing in particular, you're selling something that's invisible. It's not a tangible physical service, a physical product. You're selling an invisible thing. So you need to have clear, concise, very obviously honest communication with your clients, and you need to be a good leader. There are, like Juntae said, you're going to have to make some tough decisions at a certain point in time, but the businesses across every industry and sector that do well out of a recession invest in a recession. They don't cut.
Thank you. And I wanted to get you guys to share your handles, social media handles. As I see up on the screen, you already says at Ulrika Viberg and at Juntae DeLane. And Chris, just thank you for turning it on right now. So you guys are our viewers are welcome to reach out to our experts, and also in the follow-up email that you guys will get, we'll send a special offer. So just be sure to check that out. And I also wanted hold on, we have a question. Let me just bring it up on the screen because this is what we're here for. I'm struggling to identify new revenue streams that are relevant to my niche, and I'd love to hear your insights on how to do this effectively. Thanks. So yeah, if we could also help help Harry out a bit before leaving. Any takers? Yeah, I didn't want to hide the question. Actually, let's leave it up on the screen. Yeah, it's again new revenue streams for my niche.
Find people that the companies that you work with in that niche, they buy from other service providers as well. So partner with other service providers that give you a commission for referrals.
Exactly. Do that and find out who they are working with, and if you can like partner up with maybe paid media, maybe they do PR, maybe they do whatever, UX, and be friends with those agencies, and tag along, say hello, can you please drop my name in this field when you're talking to them, or just be where this is the classic, be where the classic client is. But that is very important in these times, actually, to be where and have your content displayed where your clients are. That is how you do it.
Yeah. And also you may want to expand your consulting or perhaps add on a fractional CMO service as well.
Thank you. And let's take one more question. How can you sell SEO to small companies? Can you sell SEO without offering phone call consultations to be able to scale better? I see Chris nodding your head.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm allowed to mention another platform, but it's not a rankings tool or anything. So can I just mention it? Is that allowed? Yeah, cool. Sure. There's a platform called spp.io, which essentially allows you to productize small portions of the services that you offer. And in the background, there's a ticketing system. So you can essentially make a small e-commerce store for like really low value SEO stuff. So content audit, keyword research, technical audit as individual small products, and then add-ons of, I don't know, blogs or whatever. And the whole thing can be done through a back-end ticketing system. So you don't ever really physically talk to the customer. And it is low value, but small companies will want small things.
You can also sell like smaller packages of classes or courses or educations where because that will like cost have a very small fee for a company, but since you attract like with 30-50 people or companies at the same time, for you it's going to be worth it. And then you can have also manuals and guidelines and everything that is within this package, and then essentially this is self-help for the smaller businesses.
Appreciate your answers, and I think we're gonna end it here. Let me just show a couple of more slides before we end everything. And sorry, well, not end everything. It sounds so dramatic. So I just wanted to let you guys know that if you haven't tried SE Ranking, you're welcome to take advantage of the extended free trial and try out all of our tools. We have about more than 30 tools, including AI powered ones. A couple of rolled out just last month. We also have our community on Facebook. I realize that Facebook is not the place to be right now, but we're working on having a place on Reddit. So we will invite you there once everything is set up. And if you have subscribed to SE Ranking, you already have access to the SEO Basics course. And we just rolled out our content SEO course about a month ago. So you're welcome to check that out also for free. And I will show you how to take advantage of some of the specific tools related to the topic, and as well as go from SEO 0 to a sort of SEO sort of small hero, but on your way there. And yeah, you're welcome to reach out to all SE Ranking on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. We have a lot of materials there. Plus, you can catch this webinar, this panel discussion up on our YouTube channel once the video will end. And also on Twitter, yeah, you can find us there as well. So, and be sure to keep an eye on your inbox. We will send out an email with the special offer. And if you have any questions, reach out to us at SE Ranking, or reach out to our expert guests today at their specified social media handles. And I want to thank everyone for being here, and hope everyone gets through this recession. Knock on wood, we're not going to have it. And this topic was for nothing. Hopefully nobody's going to have any problems that we talked about today. But it's always
best for that.
Prepared. Yeah.
This was a massive waste of time, everybody. Have a great day.
hopefully, yeah. So I want to thank Ulrika, Chris, and Juntae for taking the time out of their busy schedules to join us, and I want to thank our viewers for being here. And thanks to everyone again, and we're going to end it here. Bye.
I know. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.